right, welcome in. Had to figure out where my button was. Welcome in to the Skol Purple podcast. Great intro. Welcome in. I hope you're doing great. Carson Schubert here, as well as Tony Stegeman. And Tony, we got it done, man. We got it done. It wasn't easy, but we were able to pull out another victory. 3 in a row, one-score games. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, well, first off, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay, perfect. New
we
headphones,
don't.
so
Yeah, yeah, we
we're
don't
trying them
test
out.
audio before the show like most professional shows, but
Well, this was one where I wasn't intending on using this as a test, but I thought, you know what? I'm loving them so much, might as well try them out live in a living color. So,
there
you
you
know
go.
what? It was not the definitive win that I think we were, at least certainly I was looking for, but obviously, as we said the last week, 2 weeks, a win is a win is a win, right? Um, Obviously, it always feels great to win 4-1. We are officially the sole leader at the top of the division here by a full game now versus that half a game lead with the tiebreaker. So, yeah, happy to get the win. Obviously, I'm excited. I'm elated because we won. I wish it would have been a much less stressful game than it ended up becoming, but I'm certainly leaving with a smile.
Yeah, boy, there's a lot to dissect from this game. There's a lot of good. Boy, it seems like this team just cannot play a complete game of football. They just cannot play a complete game of football, whether it's the defense or the offense. It seems like both of them just struggle to put together a complete game. Like even defensively, I thought we played pretty decent in the first half. It wasn't great, but it was decent. And then the second half, it just wasn't great. And then um, the Vikings offense just disappeared again in that second half as well. So it's like, boy, I was feeling good at that after that first half. It's like, oh man, maybe this is the week we finally put it all together. And I kind of said that on Twitter. I was like, okay, finally, here we are. We finally put it all together. And then the second half collapse that almost would have resulted in the second loss of the season, but we won. And now we're excited to get David's thoughts here. David, welcome in, man.
Welcome, welcome.
What are your first impressions of this win? First of all, it's another win.
It's another win. I'm taking it. I take the ugly wins. I take it any day. Let's get 5-1 before the bye. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's right, boy. And the way the Dolphins look today,
yeah,
we'll get into that later on, but yeah. What are your thoughts on this game? We still haven't seen this team put together a full performance from half to half yet, or from beginning to end. It's been a mixed bag. One quarter they're good, one quarter they're not. One half they're good, one half they're not.
Right.
When are we going to see it?
I think we might see it next week. I think with Cam getting that game-winning fumble from the secret agent Amir Marset. I'm just saying, like, they look real good.
Secret agent. I love that.
They look real good today. I honestly I was a little selfish. I was telling my wife, I said, man, I need the Bears to score a couple of touchdowns. She's like, why? The Vikings are blowing them out. I'm like, if the Vikings keep blowing them out, they're gonna take the game off, and I'm not gonna get a chance to see them. So
yeah,
exactly.
So I mean, I'm really psyched about this win. I like the way they're winning different ways. I like to see Kirk Cousins the way, after that interception, he kept his head on the swivel, and they went down there and scored a touchdown to win this game. I like that. It showed resentment. Kevin O'Connell with the trick plays today, great. I can't say too much bad about it, but the defense giving up too many points. But that might be the story all year.
Yeah, I mean the pick late was rough. That was probably the one. I'd say the two spots of the game where I was not a happy Vikings fan. I may have said a few words that were not child friendly. Was the interception And then when they picked up that fourth down
Right.
late in the third quarter, and especially because I don't know if we were to go back and look at that play, and you guys might remember this, Zadarius was the quarterback spy on that play. Actually, they had drawn it up where he just sat back and basically was supposed to contain Fields, and he took a bad angle there,
Hmm.
and it was just because I saw it right away. I'm like, Zadarius has him, and he's right there.
Yeah.
Nope, and they still picked it up. So it is what it is. Kind of what I told Carson. I'm certainly happy with the win. I'm with you,
Yeah.
but there were definitely moments where it was like, I just want to tear my hair out. But
Yeah.
this is not the 21 Vikings,
Right.
so we're still stacking them into the W
Still
column.
stacking wins. Still stacking wins. I love it. I'll take it any day of the week.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we continue to see this type of defense throughout the rest of the season. Boy, it looks like we could. Um,
Mhm.
it's,
I know.
it's
Five
not
games
great
in, it's
right
like
now.
what happens? Yeah.
What's that?
I said 5 games in, it's like it's kind of seeing like this is what the defense is going to be. Like we just gotta roll with it, you know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can turn things around. That's interesting, Tony, that you mentioned that about the spy Zadarius Smith, because it seemed like the Vikings started to put in Brian Asamoah more in the game. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that, but it seemed like they were kind of almost using him as a spy
Right.
on Justin Fields in the second half, maybe more so in the fourth quarter. And I don't know if we could really see the impact of it, but I thought it was interesting. They at least were bringing Asamoah back into the game more, or at least into the game more than we have seen probably almost all season up to this point.
Right. I think with Justin's speed, Samoa could kind of match up, speed for speed with them because I'm not saying that Hicks and Kendricks are cooked, but sometimes you gotta change it up a little bit to consider the opponent that you're playing, and I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see Samoa get some reps in there. Like I'm glad to see it. At least Donatello is trying to change something to win these games, and it's just not that soft coverage that he's been doing. So maybe they can get it together, but
Yeah.
only time will tell.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, really, that's probably the one thing that we've all said over the last week or two is like, where are we going to see changes? Where are we going to see the pivots? Where are we going to see them do something different when they get put into a corner, right, and make
Right.
adjustments? So I did see a little bit of that today. Obviously, not to take away anything from Fields. I thought that Fields played well, and he's
Played
an
his best
athletic
game of the
dude.
year against the
Yeah.
Vikings, like we
Yeah.
probably expected.
Yeah. So I mean, you look at a guy like that and you go, is he gonna get out of the pocket? Is he gonna be able to do some things? Of course, man. I mean, the guy's got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Is he? He's not. I would say it's not a top tier one quarterback, but he can hurt you. I mean, he's got enough skill to hurt you. So, I was not dissatisfied. I didn't feel like we were ever completely out of control this game. It just felt like I think you take away the missed field goal before the half, you
Yes.
take away the interception, and you make those both scores, even if they're both field goals, right? It probably changes the theme of the game
Yes.
a bit there. So, and obviously, if you turn one of them into a touchdown, that certainly would have made a big difference. And with the way the offense started to play at the beginning of the game, and then towards the second half of the second half,
Right.
I really think we could have put this game away. I just wish we could have a game where I just kick up my heels, I enjoy my chicken wings and my barbecue meatballs, and I don't have to sit there, where my back doesn't hit the back of my couch because I'm
Yeah.
just at the edge of my seat. So,
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, good clean game. So, what do you guys think about Cook today?
he looked pretty good.
yeah,
I thought.
I
What do you
called
think? You got something on your mind there, Mister David? What do you got?
I think he's back, man. I think he's
He's
back.
back. All right.
I'm not even gonna say he's back. He never left. Um, I saw the I formation come out
It's
there
like
a couple of
Jefferson
times.
last week.
Yeah,
He never
yeah.
left.
I get excited for Cook, man. 'Cause I played running back in high school, so it's like when I see a running back like Cook out there, it's like, okay, yeah. But
I feel you.
I'm just worried about Daniil, pretty much. He's getting washed out, and I'm seeing Donatel have him going coverage a little bit too much. Like I'm that's a concern for me. Like I I think Daniil should just be on the line, and that's it.
Yeah, do you think that's a skill thing? Do you think it's that I mean, obviously we know he's got a lot of talent, but like I guess what I really am asking you, David, is do you feel like it's his level of comfortability with the defense that we should just get him on the line? Let's stop trying to put him into coverage, or do you think it is like a limitation for Daniil? So do you think he could get there, or do you think he probably just belongs on the line? Let's not worry about the coverage.
Yeah, I think after 5 games in of just watching it, there's a couple of plays where he's dropping back in coverage and he doesn't look comfortable. And
Hmm.
the Neil is just been playing his whole career when he racks up all the sacks, he's playing on the line. You know, either on the left side or the right side or even in the middle sometimes. I'm just seeing like maybe just Daniil being a linebacker is not going to work. And I really want his production to be a whole lot better. And he's getting washed out on a lot of run plays too. So it's kind of like,
No.
you know, what can we figure it out? You know, you got to
Yeah.
put your best guys in the position to succeed. Like, so Darius Smith is used to dropping in coverage every now and then because he's been playing linebacker like that his whole career. But I'm it's just something about it. Like when you see some of those short plays to the running back or those short plays to the tight end, and Daniil's chasing the guy, and it's like maybe he shouldn't be out there like that.
Yeah,
Hey, Grandizer. Sorry, Tony. I was just gonna shout out
oh
Grandizer.
god.
Appreciate you getting in here, Grandizer. Yeah, man. Congrats on the win. I know my boy Rap has always got his show going on too. We're all trying to build this thing together, man. We're all in it together. But yeah, appreciate you tuning in, man. So good to have you here. Go ahead, Tony. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I think that you're not incorrect with Daniil. What I did think was kind of interesting, and this kind of speaks to almost the previous, or does speak to the previous point that we were just talking about, which is them making adjustments. So one thing I took note of today is if you notice when Fields would generally get out of the pocket and obviously find some success, he was always rolling away from Daniil, generally speaking. And I love Zadarius. I think he's been a great addition to the defense, but no one's going to I think everyone would admit he's slower than Daniil. Daniil's got a freakish speed for how big he is, but they obviously that's why he rolled that way like he did. And it just seems to me, and I know this is like armchair quarterback, I'm making it sound so simple, but why not have them flip flop, maybe not like permanently, but just throw a little nugget in there every once in a while. Like have them flip flop or have Daniil line up on that side of the line, like every sixth player, just randomly, just to kind of, again, throw a wrinkle in. And it seems like those are really simple things. And I certainly am not a defensive coordinator, probably for good reason. But it just seems like some of those elements it would be nice to see because we didn't talk about this last week, by the way. Daniil basically saved the game for us potentially when he kept Dalton out of the end zone. When Dalton tried to roll out into that quarterback sneak
Right.
late in the game, and Daniil was just a single solo tackle out there. And certainly Dalton's not getting away. He's not
No.
Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, can't agree with you more. Obviously, I love Daniil. The talent is, I think, amazing. It's just, I'm just wondering if it's his skill level because of being out of football for so long with all the
Yeah.
injuries over the last couple of years, or is it that he's just getting comfortable with this system? I hope it's the
Yeah.
latter because if it's the latter, I think we could still have a lot of great things this season. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to that point on Daniil, I think we just saw today. I think he's much better, and I think that's exactly what David is getting at here. Is he's so much better at just putting his hand in the dirt. He's not used to going back in coverage. He's not used to dropping back, and not to say that he can't be that person to do that, but I think to expect him to just flow into that role automatically is asking a lot. And I think maybe next offseason, if the Vikings do hang on to him, which I do hope that they do, I think maybe giving him another full season under his belt, maybe doing some of that stuff will help. But I agree. I think it's definitely something where we've seen him succeed more with the hand of the dirt there and being able to just go back and rush the passer. But yeah, we saw him have some success with that, and then yeah, it's just the defense as a whole. Thank the Lord for Cam Dantzler coming up with the play there. I haven't been always so confident with Cam this season. I think he's been up and down. Like he's made some plays, but he's also given up some plays, which you could say that for about pretty much everybody on the defense.
Right.
But it's been interesting to watch. Like he kind of did his best Peanut Tillman impersonation right there with the strip, and I like that. And then, like you said, David, secret agent
Secret agent.
ISM coming up with the play of the game
Yeah.
with the strip, and then also the what was it earlier? He dropped
Yep.
a.
He had the push in the back.
Oh yeah, the push in the back on the Fields
In the back,
touchdown run,
yeah.
which looked very Vic-esque or Jalen Hurts-esque, whoever you want to compare him to. But it felt good to have ISM really perform well for the Vikings today, man.
Still,
Go
do you
Hawks!
guys, do you guys think like if they can win against Miami, which is man, I feel bad for those guys down there. They don't even have a quarterback. They're going to start next week. I don't even know they have a guy in the roster. But
Thompson, yeah, or Bridgewater. I don't know. Was
Bridgewater got
Bridgewater
a
hurt
concussion out the
today?
game. Yeah, Bridgewater got a concussion and went out the game today. So
Jeez.
it's tough down
Yeah,
there.
boy, that's looking like a better game next week now,
Yeah, maybe
unless
they could,
Tua's back.
unless I think Tua was out for at least another 2 weeks, at least.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
you
just-
know who's going to be starting for the Dolphins? It'll be Sean Mannion. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh my god.
And we're gonna make Sean Mannion look like a Hall of Famer next.
Yeah. With this defense,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we wonder why he looked good against our defense in practice sometimes.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
Yeah. Hey, as long as it's not Cooper Rush again.
yeah,
Maybe
that's right.
Donatello can like kind of do the during the bye, draw something up and make some tweaks to come out, from the bye to figure some things out. That's what I'm hoping. As far as the defense and the offense, I'm not really too worried about right now. I mean,
Yeah.
the dropsies still. These guys got to catch the ball.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of drops. Do we lead the league in drops this year?
We were a top 5 or 10, I think.
That's crazy. But I think it was
We're not used to catching the ball this much.
No, they're not. What you guys think about Irv Smith today?
I liked it. I thought he played well, other than the penalty, but
Yeah,
I thought he played well, and I know he's got the potential. I know a lot of people thought, oh, let's cut him, let's get rid of him already. It's like, no. Do you know how much talent we have at the tight end position?
Right.
None, other than him, pretty much. Johnny Munt is not great. I mean, he was okay today, other than he had a penalty too, but like he's not. Like most teams would have him maybe as a third string, and he's our second string. So
right.
I think Irv is fine. Obviously, when you have thumb surgery, he had surgery on his thumb, right?
Right.
I think that may have a greater impact than what we want to say the first couple of weeks. And now that maybe he's getting into a groove, getting that thumb a little bit wear on that, making the catches, I think that's going to help him going forward. But he's got a lot of talent, man. He does. He's a talented guy. I'm still hopeful Irv is going to continue to ball out for the Vikings offense. We need him. Like we need another playmaker out there
They
because
need him.
it seems like Thielen or Osborne, they kind of disappear at times.
Yeah, Thielen had a horrible
so-
game. 7 catches, 4 yards, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
Not great at all.
But yeah, what'd you think of Irv today, there, Tony?
Yeah, I would share the sentiment that I thought he looked good. I mean, and really, kind of what I talked about last week. I feel like we've seen it start to build a little bit. Obviously, we had the drops that we saw in week 2. We don't need to talk about that anymore. But I felt like when we went into that New Orleans game, I started to see that the turn a little bit, where I think I brought this up with you both, where we started to see him get a little confidence, and you can just see it in the body language, right? And is it 100% there yet? I don't think we're there yet, but I like to see him, being physical. And I think part of that too is he spent 2 years with injury issues,
Right.
basically, right? And so I think if you're an athlete, which I know that you mentioned that you were, David, I was, and I'm not sure, Shuby, your background.
I played some
Uh,
baseball, but I am much better at talking about sports.
Well, if you were at any point an athlete, and certainly if you've ever been hurt, you know that you always have to then, once you come back from injury, you have to
Hard.
fight. Yeah, you have to fight that the little demon on the side of your shoulder
Hmm.
that's telling you like, oh, be careful. We don't want to, we don't want to get hurt again. We don't want to feel this, that, or
I was like that
whatever.
without
So
being hurt, but
So I just think we've seen him be a little cautious, and I feel like we're starting to see that lift a little bit from him. So
Okay.
I think as long as we continue to see that, he's got all the talent in the world. So
Yeah.
maybe by week 10, week 11, we're going like, hey, this is probably one of the better tight ends in the NFC. I honestly think he could be that. So
Hopefully. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, I think he's got top 5 NFC tight end potential for sure.
yeah.
But
And then the other thing I was going to bring up, and it's really just to toot my own horn, so let me do that for a second. I did call out, Carson, when we had our little preview, that I said, this is the week. This is the week for Dalvin. If there's a week so far,
you're right.
it's this week. I'm like,
I, I
because
was I was in agreement.
if you look at what Chicago's been giving up on the ground, I
It's
mean, it's
bad.
it's bad. It's
It's really
ugly.
bad. Yep.
And I figured as long as we can execute, we'll be just fine. And so I was really happy to see Dalvin capitalize on that, because that's the thing.
Yeah.
You still have to play the game. The line
Right.
still has to make holes. But it looked like they were running with determination. To be honest with you, I'm surprised he didn't even have a bigger game, or I'm surprised we didn't have a big game for both Dalvin and Madison. That was my prediction. Is
Yeah.
I thought they both would have big games.
Mhm.
But I'm certainly happy with Dalvin's performance. And these types of things early in the season are so important, because what it does is it builds confidence. So when we go into other games, they start to feel like, hey, I expect to get 100+ yards and 2
Right.
touchdowns. He might not get it, but he expects himself to get it, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, David.
He wasn't turning his body when getting hit today. He was like literally running through guys today, and he was pumped up. And I just like you said, I wanted to get some more of Alexander Madison. So I live in San Bernardino, and Madison's from San Bernardino. So he went
Oh,
to my daughter's rival school. So, out here they talk about Madison a whole lot. But the running game looks good. The offense, I can't say anything bad about the offense. The O line's playing well, receivers are playing well, tight ends, are doing a little bit better. The running game looks good. It's like it's everything looking cool. It's just that
yeah,
defense. Special teams is
yeah,
really good too. Even though we, had a muff punt today, it still not too bad. They're winning the games that they lost last year, which what a lot of
yeah.
people are not understanding. These games they lost last year, and now they're winning them. So it's building character for these guys.
Let's watch the
Muff.
magical moment here. I don't know if you can even hear it, but
Agent 17.
there it is.
On that play, I was just thinking, like, why didn't he just immediately go out of bounds to stop
Yeah.
the clock? Like,
He probably had to
what are
gain
you-
his thought.
like, what are you
Like,
doing?
Yeah, he probably had to think, "Oh, what's the clock? What do we, I can imagine being in that situation like, "What do I do? What do I do?"
Yeah, you catch the ball, you go immediately out of bounds, stop the clock.
Hey, you
Uh,
guys have to understand, from my perspective, when he took that ball away and then got up and then looked like he was going to run towards the end zone, I was about to lose my mind in a good way, because if you are someone who bet today, we would have covered the spread had he got that touchdown. So I picked the
Uh,
over at 44, and I already was locked into that. And all I'm thinking is, oh, this phone call to my dad is going to be glorious, because we bet each other every week, and it's just for a meal at the end of the year. It's all in good fun. But he had the Bears just basically beating the spread,
Mhm.
and yeah, no, if Dantzler would have high stepped into the end zone, that would have been a pretty fun call to have later today.
well, I am doing pretty well on my bets so far today. Not to get too far into that, but I picked the Giants to win earlier. That went well. Picked the
Wow, that
Patriots,
blew my mind today.
and I picked the under. Picked the under in the Titans Commanders game. I've got the Bengals tonight, and then under 51.5 tomorrow for the Monday night game. So 3 out of 5 so far. I could cash
Hey,
out now and get $55. I'm thinking about it. But anyways, moving on to more important matters. The Vikings again getting the win today. Make sure to put your comments in, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We are opening up the line, and I probably should get the email open so I can actually see if people are emailing in. But it as good as the offense was in that first half, man, like I was so like, oh yes, like I was like, yes, finally, here we are. Like, and it wasn't just the first drive. We saw him do it on multiple
yeah,
drives. It's like, oh man, this is fantastic. And then it just, for whatever reason, again, stopped clicking. Of course, you had the interception. So that was one drive getting killed right there. And then we had penalties and stuff too to throw in with that. But sack or two,
yeah,
but it's like I'd like to start to see this team overcome some of those things. Whether it's Kirk, whether it's the play calling, whether it's somebody bailing him out, whatever it is, like let's overcome some of that. Let's get to a 31-22 finish or whatever, so we don't have to make it so close at the end. But
right.
any thoughts from you guys on the offensive performance and just consistency?
Yeah, I think the scripted plays are good. They had a good 3 drives going down scoring, which is fine. The trick plays are pretty good, caught kind of the other team off guard. But I mean, it's still a work in progress too. I really love Dalvin to have the I formation back a couple of times. To let CJ be a lead blocker. I think that's key to the running game and protection wise too. I think the offensive line looks a whole lot better from last year. Guys are kind of like
Yeah.
gelling together. I mean, it's just the play calling doesn't seem too bad. With KLC, it's pretty good. It's just it's only game 5, so they still got to gel. They still got to figure some things out. Only what I would like to see though also too is more shots down the field. But in actuality, these guys get a lot of yak. So when you throw those short plays, these guys are running a lot. So it's kind of like takes away from that. Like, okay, why would you do that when you guys are still catching the ball for 12 yards and running for 30? So, I mean, it's work in progress. I think the offense is going to get better, and they're going to have to get better, especially when they go to play teams like Buffalo. You see what Buffalo did today? Like,
Oh boy,
I play fantasy
I'm
football,
I'm calling
and
that an L right now.
yeah, I play fantasy football, and everybody laughed at me because I drafted Justin Jefferson first and took Josh Allen second and took Stephon Diggs third. And they're like, "Oh, you have no running backs,"
Oh, that sounds like a great team to me.
and it's like I don't need any.
Who needs a running back when you got those guys? And boy,
Yeah,
running backs
so
in fantasy this year,
right.
that's
I,
been
I
whew,
think that Buffalo game is
yikes.
gonna be the game when for Kirk Cousins' first year. You guys remember that Rams game when they were just dueling back and forth? That Buffalo game is gonna be like that. I think so.
You think so? Okay.
Yes, and it might get flexed. It might
I think it will get
might
flexed,
get
like at
flexed.
least to be a late game, like a
Yeah,
3 o'clock game. But
3 o'clock
um,
game. So, but that's just my thing on the offense. As long as these guys are catching the ball, I'm fine.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and we're gonna probably see what primetime Kirk is like again.
yeah,
But anyways, Tony,
Yeah, what's interesting to me if there's anything that I liked about today on the offense, I mean, there was a lot to like. But one of the things that I liked was it seemed that we were basically taking what the defense was giving us today more than trying to force anything. Whereas I think early in the season, we had a lot of success with Jefferson. We had a lot of success throwing medium, or I should say, like those intermediate to deep throws, right? Week one. Then week two, it's almost like we went into that game thinking we were going to do the same thing. And that didn't work out very well. And then we went into the Detroit game, and I think for the first half of that game, it felt like we were still trying to have this. We're gonna throw deep. We're gonna be able to just have these big, huge gash plays, and it was like at that second half of the Detroit game up to now, it feels like we've shifted now to we're gonna take what the defense is giving us, and those might be short to intermediate throws, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like as long as we continue to do that, the deep game will open up because
Right.
if we're having success, teams will then start to cheat up, and that's when we can start hitting them over the top. So
Yeah.
it's just trying to make sure that we continue to eat. I mean, that's what's so tough with these like elite quarterbacks. I mean, they always like to talk about, Rodgers, Brady, Breeze, some of these big time quarterbacks we've had throughout the years. And that was always the big, thing when we talk about how they just eat you alive, right? No matter what you
Yeah.
did, and it was because they were so good at diagnosing your defense and knowing what you were trying to take away and knowing where they could then go because someone was either cheating deep or cheating short or
Right.
whatever they were doing. So I think the more that we can do that, we'll see the offense become more dynamic as I think defenses will start to play us in a different way. Right now, I really think most defenses, their game plan is just take Jefferson away, don't
Right.
let him try to do anything over the top. And what did we see them do today was basically go soft against Jefferson, and Jefferson and Cousins, I mean, ate the Bears alive in that first half. So,
Yeah.
you know, if we can do that every game, guess what? They're going to start playing tighter coverage, and then guess what we do? We
Down
start
the
hitting them
field.
deep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Down the field. Yeah. Makes sense. It makes sense. It's just work in progress. 5 weeks in, I know both offense and defense is going to make a couple of changes. In the bye week, trying to figure things out. Hopefully, we can get some of these other guys in there, especially on the defensive side, to get a little speed. Maybe they should start playing a little closer. But as for the offense, I mean, Kirk Cousins is like he threw the pick, came back out there, run the game. Jalen Raker got a touchdown. I mean, the offense, was a little bit spread out today, and it's like it's hard to beat when everybody's getting it going. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I was going to bring in Kirk Cousins here. He's talking to the media quick. Let's hear a few thoughts from him.
Yeah, I don't think we can hear it.
You can't hear it. You can't hear it.
No.
Can you guys hear him?
I can't. No.
Oh,
I was just
shoot.
letting you know in the chat.
Oh, good. All right. Well, I will try.
I
And
like
fix
his
that
sweater.
for-
His sweater looks nice. I think
Probably got it from
if
Kohl's, right?
if he could get that chain back that he was wearing on the flight back from London, I think that would look really nice with that sweater.
Well, I'm
I
glad
don't know
you
if you
told
guys
me
saw
because
that video.
maybe.
Okay.
Let's see. Maybe. Let me try this again. Let me try this one more time. Well, actually,
Still no audio yet from Kirk. David, did you see that video? Did you see the video where Kirk was wearing whose chain was it? Was
I
it
think it was
Darisov's
Darisaw.
chain?
Darisaw.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Darisaw. Yeah, I love stuff
Test.
like that. Like I love stuff like that because I feel when a team can play around with each other, it builds the camaraderie. They're not uptight. Like I was a big Zimmer guy.
Can you hear it now?
No, can't
Nope,
hear.
not yet.
Yeah, I was a big Zimmer guy, but it seems like KOC is loosening it up a little bit, and these guys are having fun. Like I
Yeah.
I, I, I like to see that.
Yeah.
especially for Kirk Cousins because he seems like he's always uptight.
Sometimes he can be pretty uptight. Well, it was funny because he was talking about wearing the chain, and he was like, "Yeah, it was kind of empowering, you know." And all I'm thinking is like, Kirk's gonna come in with this, Fitzpatrick look with the chest hair out, got the chain going.
The Joe Burrow with the fur coming in.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that was good to see. And to your point, I'm with you. I just think it's so important to have that chemistry in a locker room. It
Yes,
goes a long way because you start to play for each other. And I think that's why if you talk to some people that are not big NFL fans, like maybe they're bigger college football fans,
hmm
that's what they'll always say is, well, we just really like it because these guys, they all play for each other because it's not all
right,
about the money and whatever the reasons might be. And I do think there's some validity to that, right? A lot of these guys, I mean, they're getting paid quite a bit of money. At least the stars are.
right.
Um, but boy, I mean, you look at like the '09 season, if I'm just calling back some Vikings memories, I mean, that team, there was a cohesive feeling around that team where all those guys, they played hard for each other. They all
Yes,
cared about, who was in the right spot when they needed to be there. And then they had each other's back, at
right.
the same time. So
Yeah,
I agree with you. I love to see stuff like that because it makes me hopeful for our team and it makes me hopeful for the culture of the team going forward.
right, right. And
Yeah.
it's like guys make mistakes, and it's like, okay, let's get them back. I
Exactly.
like I like that. It's not like you got Zimmer breathing down on you. You made a
Yeah.
mistake. Like loosen these guys up. They're gonna make mistakes. It's football.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd see Zimmer with all dripped out like that with that spinner chain on. I don't know if we'd see
No,
Zimmer
no
rocking
way,
that.
no way.
Yeah.
No way.
He might maybe have like a John Deere diamond encrusted spinner.
Maybe his girlfriend would like that. I don't know.
Yeah, his girlfriend
Yeah.
probably would like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
She was
man.
I think she was younger than me.
She was younger than me too.
I agree. Vikings fans should receive free heart medicine. 100%.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
100%.
That I think that'd almost be a troll, wouldn't it be, if we had a break and play and it was like Minnesota Vikings brought to you by Lipitor.
Yeah, yeah. Or we're gonna start having Bon Jovi sing "Your love is like bad medicine." That's what the
Mm.
Vikings.
Yeah, it's
That's
with
what
the
the Vikings
Vikings.
bring us. Bad medicine,
It's
man.
part of being a Viking fan.
I
Yeah.
let's see. I had a video yesterday. I'm gonna try and get it up here at some point, but it was basically like, um, why don't we just leave? It's like, no, I like being miserable.
Yeah.
As a
Well,
Vikings fan, we know that.
I have said in years past that I feel like the Vikings are basically the dark part of the like internet where
Mhm.
I turn on my Vikings game. I'm gonna put on my leather pants and just get the old paddle out and let's start the game up. So
Yeah, you just know watching
yeah,
the Viking game, being a Viking fan, it's gonna be ebbs and flows, ups and downs, peaks and valleys, however you want to say it. That's
yeah.
exactly what it's gonna be as a Viking fan. They're gonna break your heart.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think really what it is it's all for this idea that the payoff is going to be so glorious once it does. And I
Yeah,
say once, not if. Once it does, the payoff is going to be amazing and I'm going to take a year off from work and my family will travel the world. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do.
well, with
Uh
the way the NFC looks, it looks like if the Vikings can still pack some of these wins in right now, you know, they could be in a good spot for the playoffs. I mean, I was really worried after the Packers lost. The first thing I thought was like, okay, the Packers lost. Vikings could be two up in the division. Watch them lose tonight. Just watch them lose today. Like watch them lose. But with the NFC being wide open, because I am not sold on Philadelphia. I'm not. I'm not. I'm sorry, even though I might be a little salty because of the championship game still.
you're salty.
I'm salty. I'm salty. So I'm not sold on them. I don't care how good they may seem. I still don't like them.
I'm not
But
sold on Sirianni as a coach, but
me
I
neither.
wasn't sold on him when they hired him. I was like, who?
Exactly. Who's that guy?
Yeah, yeah, but
Well, I
they've
think
shown that it's been a good hire, really, so far. At least we'll see.
what I think Philly has to worry about the most is like any team, they're going to have to hope that they stay healthy.
Yes.
And then the second thing is that they're going to have to continue to evolve. Where I think that some teams that get hot early, I mean, and I'm not saying we were anywhere near, I don't think we were, and this is me being honest, I don't think we were as near as good as the Philadelphia Eagles are this year. But do you guys remember? I think it was the 2015, maybe 17. You guys tell me the year if you can remember. The Bradford year with the Vikings, where we
2016.
started out,
2015.
so the 5-0 season, right?
Yep.
And I'm not saying we were winning games as
I
decidedly,
was.
but we were winning some games.
Yep.
And it's just, you guys, things can fall off the rails if a team doesn't make adjustments, because I've said this in previous episodes with both of you, is that these are professional defensive coordinators, and
Right.
the guys that are playing defense, they've all been superstars at one point in their career at the college level or the NFL level. So these defenses are going to continue to watch film on the Eagles, and they're going to start to figure it out. And then it's going to be, can the Eagles switch it up? Can they do something different? Do they have a counter punch? And if they don't, I mean, they could find some tough weeks, especially as the season goes on.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. Cal, now I don't remember. Here's a video.
This is embarrassing. Let's blow.
No, I'm enjoying my misery.
There you go. No, I'm enjoying my misery. That's from Dawson's Creek, by the
Dawson's
way.
Creek.
Yep, yep. That was from like the first season when Dawson was upset that Jen was at a dance with some other guy, and Joey's like, "We should blow, like leave, like get out of here," and that's what most people that are non-Vikings fans like. Why don't you just leave? It's like,
Yeah.
no, I enjoy my misery, man.
Especially out here in California, they're like, "You're a Vikings fan?" And they're like, "Why?" I'm just like, "Because I'm a Vikings fan." All right. It's like, "You don't like the Rams?" "No, I hate the Rams." It's like, I don't like them either. Like, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, well, I can tell you. So I'm in the Twin Cities area here in Minnesota, and of course we have lots of Vikings fans, but we also have a lot of Packer fans because we're so close to the border, and so
Yep.
that is just, especially when we've had some tougher years. It's just like, why don't you want to be, part? And it's like, I just don't want to put cheese on my head. All right, I don't want to put cheese on my head, and I
Cheese is
hate
for
you.
eating, not for putting on your head.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is with Packer fans is that, a lot of the Packer fans you talk to, they've only been Packer fans for as long as they've had this insane run of Hall of Fame quarterback play.
Since
If you were to look at
95.
the history of the franchise,
whatever.
they had a ton of success early, right? Obviously with Titletown and all that before the NFL AFL merger. But then they were basically just a garbage organization
Yeah.
for about 2 decades, where I
They're the
think they made the
Lions.
playoffs like twice, exactly. And then, Favre came to town, and here we are. So it's fine. We'll just wait for the Jordan Love era, and then we'll remind them that they were just really lucky
I don't think they're making
for
the
all
playoffs.
those
I'm
years.
glad I didn't have to show this or this today. We got the win, so
Got the
even
win.
though I just showed it, but still.
Exactly.
Defibrillator paddles. Defibrillator paddles. Getting hit by defibrillator
Yeah.
paddles. Yeah. Or being brought back to life maybe after these games. But
Exactly.
yeah, what a game it was. I felt like we were gonna win the whole time, almost. I mean, the fourth quarter, I was kind of like, I don't know. I was kind of ready for it, and then, but yeah, again, I think it's just us remembering how many games we lost. Yeah, what they say, 1-score games. We were in how
Mhm.
many of them last year, and we were 6-8 in those games.
Right.
8.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
tough last year.
we lost 8 of those, and we won 6 1-score games.
Mhm.
So maybe if we can switch the script on that, at least be 8-6 in those games, but hopefully more. But we'll see.
So what's the next three games coming up coming up is Miami, and then who's next after that?
Then it's a bye week, and then it's Washington. Is that right? Or no, Cardinals. The Cardinals.
Cardinals.
And then it's
Cards, yeah.
Washington, and then I believe it's Buffalo. Or maybe one more in there
Can they
before
run the
Buffalo.
table to Buffalo? You think they have a shot of doing that?
No,
Can they run the table
no.
and have only one loss
Going into
before
Buffalo,
going
maybe.
into Buffalo?
I think we could lose next week. I think it just seems like everything is going to be so well aligned for us to win, and I could see us losing.
Yeah. What is the word
Yeah.
on Andrew Booth? Because I would love to see Andrew Booth go against Tariq Hill because
Yeah.
I
Did he
want
play
to see.
today?
I'm not
He
sure.
was out. Nope, he was ruled
Yeah.
out before the game.
Yeah, I
Which
want to
leads
see
me
him.
to believe he may be
O'Connell
out.
provided an injury update on Chandler and Scene and Evans, but can't play that for you right now because obviously the audio is not working. But anyways, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I think that as far as Booth is concerned, just looking at the schedule, I would hedge to bet they probably would not. Because to your point, I'd love to see him go against like an elite receiver just to kind of see what he's got. But I would hedge to bet they'll probably, this is just my opinion, I bet they hold him out again because if we're gonna go heading into the bye,
Maybe
why
after
not
the
give him an
bye.
extra week?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, are they really gonna throw him out there on somebody like Tyreek after coming right back from injury? Probably not anyway. So I bet
would.
they look
Let
at
me
it.
get burnt.
I mean,
If you're
I mean,
burnt, you might as well get burnt by the best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is the way you're only going to learn. Throw him in the fire right now.
man, I wouldn't want to deliver that
I would
message. You
rather
just
have
come up
him
to
out
him.
there. I'll just say this: I would rather have him out there over Patrick Peterson on Tyreek Hill,
Yes.
no doubt.
Yeah. I just wouldn't want to have that message. Like, you
saw-
walk up to him in the locker room and say, "Hey, how's that ankle doing?" You give him a little pat. Oh, it's feeling good. Well, you got Tyreek Hill next week.
All due respect to Darnell Mooney, but Patrick Peterson got toasted by him, and we know that Tyreek Hill's way better, and Jalen Waddle's
And
probably
Jalen
way
Waddle. I was
better.
about to say that. Jalen Waddle's
So,
pretty fast, too. But they don't
it's
have a quarterback this week. We don't know who's playing quarterback this week for next week for them. So
perfect time for a no-name rookie to step in and get the win for the Dolphins.
Here comes Kellen Mond.
Yeah. Kellen Mond, yeah. If the Browns don't have him, they're going to cut him this week, and then the Dolphins are going to be like, all right, Mond, tell us what you know about this Vikings team here. Come on.
he's like,
Yeah,
I know
kidding.
nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Watch ISM be cut by the Bears after this game.
I was just thinking that, too. Yes, I think
Yeah.
so. I think so.
You do kind of feel for him. I mean, because obviously you
You
put
think we could
yourself
get
in
him
his
back?
shoes. We
Chris
probably
Boyd?
could.
Sorry,
Yeah, why
Chris
not?
Boyd.
Nah,
My favorite
I like
guy.
Rager.
Yeah,
I like-
Rager
yeah.
did.
I like
did-
Rager.
I will say this: we haven't talked about this yet. Special teams took a step back today.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
Blocked field goal, muff punt.
Muff punt,
Yeah. Yeah, and then we couldn't get a block. Not that you should expect to get a block on special teams, but yeah, I just thought that was uncharacteristic of Daniel's special teams units through the first 4 weeks, and then we kind of had a little bit of a rough performance today. Any particular reason you think that? I guess I don't know how good the Bears special teams was coming in, and Ryan Wright just shanked one today. I think maybe he was okay the rest of the game, but there was one he just absolutely shanked.
I just think like every facet is going to have a bad game, and to go back to the point of last year, these mishaps, they're still winning the game. Last year, they have a muff punt, they lose it. Bears go down, score a touchdown. They Joseph mixed a couple of kicks, they scored touchdowns on those. So even though they're having these mishaps on special teams and on offense, and they're just not playing defense, I mean, they're still winning the games, and it counts for something because it's like, okay, next week the special teams should be a lot better again. That's just how I'm looking at it. They've been all good all year, great all year, but this is just the game they couldn't put it all together, and they still won. So I'm like, I like to see that. That's building a lot of character for this team.
They are the only unit that's played a complete game this season. I'll grant them that.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, and I would say that that kind of speaks to what we've talked about, what we want to see going forward, right? Is when are we going to have a game where all three phases is at their peak potential, right? Which is always what you're always striving for, and that's not always easy to do. But we're still missing that game, and I feel like that hopefully will come. But that's what I'm really looking forward to, and I thought it might have been this week. I really did. I
I did
thought this
too,
week
Me
and
too.
it
might
looked
have been the
good in the
week.
first half.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think where we saw, I think the offense had spots today where they looked great. I think they had little moments that were a little suspect, obviously the interception, etc. I think the defense overall felt like it was okay enough today. It had some moments. We need to get better, certainly against mobile quarterbacks. That's something that's very apparent.
Yeah.
And then the special teams, yeah, had a down day, but with the between what the offense did and what the defense was able to do, it was still enough to get the victory. I
Mhm.
just would love to see again all three phases at A grades, and I think if we saw that, boy, we'd see a heck of a team.
Let's save that for Buffalo.
Right, we'll need it.
We
Yeah.
need that against
They're
Buffalo.
just saving every good play call in their playbook for Buffalo, whether it's
Buffalo.
defense or offense. It's all coming in Buffalo, and we're just going to see the Vikings just absolutely boat race the Bills. Watch.
That's actually my
I'm
Super
kidding.
Bowl prediction. My dad asks me every year. He's like, I already know you're
Boy,
gonna put the Vikings in there,
I think
right?
the world's going to explode if we have the Bills and Vikings in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. He goes, I know you're gonna say the Vikings, but who do you think for the X? I said, Dad, I'm still a big Dickens guy. And I love Josh Allen, so I'm going with Buffalo, Minnesota. He's like, all right, whatever. But they never won, so it'd be great.
If we had a Vikings Bills Super Bowl, what we would quickly find out is that there's some obscure rule that would allow for a tie in the Super Bowl, and that's what would happen.
It'd be
Yeah.
a lot of wide left, mixed kicks, all this stuff going
Exactly.
on. Yeah.
And then we would just watch Roger Goodell take a handsaw to the Lombardi Trophy and just cut it right in half.
Cut it in half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we would have to live with the perpetual talking from the Green Bay fans that we don't still don't have a whole one. That would be
Yeah.
what we'd get.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're 3.5 short of us.
Yeah.
Oh, any
Oh.
other thoughts before we get to final statements here, guys?
um, nah, not really. I think we covered it all.
All right.
Yeah, I'm ready to go, man. I'm happy with the win. I'm
I'm
feeling
happy.
good at 4-1.
Me too.
Yeah. 4 and
Me too.
1's nice. I wish it would have been a little bit less stress, but we got there. And you know what they say in this league? It doesn't matter how you got there. It just matters that you got there, and
Exactly.
they got there. And that is, as much as we can sit here and talk about, well, this needs to improve, which they do need to
Mhm.
improve in areas again going forward. But the fact that this team continues to be in improving mode is encouraging, that we're 4 and 1 and we're still improving. Like, to me, like that's the fact. Like, I don't think we've reached the full potential, maybe defensively, but I don't think we've reached the full potential for at least the offense yet. We saw what that potential can look like in the first half, I think, and then we kind of saw it backslide. Maybe not quite to the Philadelphia game level, but it was not great in that second half until that final drive when we needed to. And again, let's give Kirk his props. He made the plays when he needed to. He
Yes.
did. And man, that congratulations to him too on that record too. By the way, that breaking the most consecutive completions. Tommy Kramer, 2-minute Tommy, breaking his record. But noon games for Kirk, man. Let me tell you, he comes to
Yes.
play usually. So,
That's right.
anyways, um, yeah, I don't know. I think next week could be interesting. I could definitely see us being in a little bit of a trap game next week, and I think that was maybe the case this week too. But it's like, well, even though the Dolphins are without Tua, like they still have some solid players on that team, and if Thompson has a full week of prep, or Bridgewater to come back, if Bridgewater is able to come back and be cleared by next week, that's a whole nother thing. Or if somehow Tua by a miracle plays, which I agree, I don't think he's going to play, but I could still see, with the way our defense plays, I could still see next week being close. But we'll save those predictions for another time. Tony, go ahead and actually let's go. Let's start with David. Go ahead and give us your final statements and
Okay, if my first final statement would be unpopular opinion. The number two receiver on the team is KJ Osborne.
mm,
Um, we're looking at the slight decline of Adam Thielen. He might be the same Adam Thielen in the red zone when there's not a lot of field to cover. He's still going to be that guy, but this number two receiver is KJ Osborne. And going forward with the defense, it's still back to what I said about Daniil. I really want to see Daniil Hunter, hand in the ground a whole lot more, doing what he does best, and also with this hockey rotation of the D line, it has to stop. Like, keep Tomlinson in there, keep Phillips in there, keep those guys in there, keep your stars in there. I mean, they're professional football players, they're going to get winded. But it seems like when Lynch and those guys in there, that's when the other team breaks a couple of plays, breaks a run play or something like that. And it's kind of like on that guys, which gives the whole defense, a bad taste. But just that going forward, looking forward to the Miami game. Just hope Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't come back out of retirement and throws that ball around, but
it's
that's
magic.
it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
They're going to call him out of Thursday night football for 1 week.
1 week just to roast Cam Dansler and Patrick Peterson. Just one
Oh,
week, yeah.
man.
But
I'd
I'm
want to
looking
come
forward
back and
to
throw to those guys that if I
it.
was him.
Yeah,
But,
So, but that's
but
it. Like I just noticed that today about Adam Thielen. Just looking at the stats, the 7 receptions, the the yards, and he was like everybody else is pretty much getting the ball down the field or whatever. I know Thielen is clutch. He's. I'm not saying he's done. I'm not saying he's cooked, but I'm saying like when it comes to like being dynamic, going down the field, yards
yeah,
after the catch, I don't think he has it there anymore. But
not as good
the
at separating.
yeah, good at separating. But his upside is the red zone. So that's something that we should start taking a look at. I know you guys said maybe we should bring Smith Marset back. I really want to see some plays to Jalen Rager a little bit more because that guy's pretty fast. And I think, Keenan McCardell is great. Like I'm a big Diggs fan because I was a big Keenan McCardell fan, a while ago, and just him and his Chris Rock running when he was in Maryland, I knew Diggs was going to be okay. And then, drafted him in the 5th round. And I was like, why is this guy on the kickoff? And when he finally got to play, you saw how good Diggs was. So maybe he can help out Rager to get some separation around Ross a little bit better. I want to see him, come out there and play more.
Secret agent ISM man. Secret agent man. All right. Now that you've heard me sing, let's go to Tony.
Yeah, I think, and obviously we've talked at length as far as how we're feeling today. So certainly happy at 4-1, right? I think if any of us would have, or if any of us would have been told before the season started that we were going to start 4-1, we'd all be pretty happy. I know I certainly would have been, and I am now. Just I think what I'm still looking for, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, is the confidence from the team where we just feel like we're going to dominate. And I just have yet to see this team dominate to a point where we are again kind of imposing our will on another team, where it just never feels like the team has a chance. And even in our wins so far, I mean, minus the Green Bay game of all games, it has felt like we're just kind of letting people hang around still. And I'm certainly glad that we're on the winning side of these games this year. That's great. But what I want to see going forward is a statement, definitive win where we go out there and it never feels like the other team is even close. Like that's when we'll know we've got a team is when we can beat another NFL team to the point where we know as fans, our team knows and the other team knows that there's no way they're winning that game, meaning the opposing team. So I'm waiting for that. I think it will come. Do we see that against Miami? I think both Carson, you brought it up, and David, it depends on who's at quarterback. Um, I even with a depleted uh, Dolphins team, a win like that, I still think could go a long way for this team. So I would love to see us go out there and really take it to a team. I felt like we were trending in that direction today, and we couldn't quite get there. So while I feel good and I'm certainly happy, certainly looking for a little bit more in the coming weeks.
Absolutely.
Right.
David, do you want to add something there?
I mean, he's completely right. Like I want to see a full game also,
Yep.
but I'm happy with where we're at. Just like you said before, we're on the winning end of these games, these close games this time. Last year we lose these games, and
Yep.
it's it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to be a Viking fan right now. Yeah,
Yep. Until we enjoy being miserable again. But
yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
enjoy it while we got it. Let's not be pre-miserable. Let's
Right.
enjoy it while we got it. But yes, make sure to tune into Under the Lights tomorrow night. We got that on Skol Purple Podcast. I will be with Dave, and then also we'll have probably a preview of the Dolphins game. I'm hoping to get a Dolphins podcaster on. And then also maybe we might be starting something a little different. I'm going to talk to Tony a little bit about starting a little something. But we hope you enjoyed this, whether you're watching now or watching later on. Appreciate you tuning in. And as always, what do we say, guys?
Skol.
Skol.
Go Vikes!
Skol.